Scorpio, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-February 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the Scorpio collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. The guide spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you got for Scorpio gang? In mid-February, what energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. Well, let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Scorpio gang in mid-February. What's the vibe? What's the energy that's floating around us? Let's see what's happening. Things have been quite intense in the Scorpio readings in the past few weeks, so I'm interested to see if that's going to continue. I mean, by the looks of this card, this does seem pretty chill. It does feel very watery to me, water sign type of energy, so it makes sense. It's very imaginative and daydreamy, and there's something about it that's a little sleepy too. So I feel like there's a lot of little messages in this first card. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards then, so you might want to check that out. Also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So we see this lovely lady. It looks like she's either meditating or in some sort of pose or sleeping, not in the most comfortable position. She's like bent in half, but there's like rainbows and it's like a nice serene water scene here. So I always say this imaginative daydreamy vibe I often get at the beginning of water sign readings. Everyone knows Scorpio is a water sign. That's what we are. But to me, this card, again, for a lot of us in this time, you might be more imaginative, daydreaming, fantasizing, stuff like that. Now, that would be good to channel that energy into creative pursuits, creative endeavors. So whether it is for business reasons or just reasons alone, just to give this energy an outlet, that's very important, because there might be a potential to ruminate on things or overthink things when I see this card. Okay, think about things from too many angles. Now, another thing this could represent to me is meditative states, altered states of consciousness. For some Scorpios, this could even be speaking about your sleep schedule or sleep in general. So for some of you who've been having very vivid, interesting dreams, you might want to write them down. This card to me feels like the subconscious mind too. Like there's just something about it where it's powerful but subtle. So we're going to leave it at that for now. Let's see what tarot has. And I always say the first card here, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into the intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Scorpio gang. What do we got in mid-February? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading, my friends. It was titled An Explosive Warning. Now, the reason it was titled that was because there was a metric ton of fire energy, and there was air energy too, where to me it felt like things popping up out of nowhere, things popping off real quick. So whether you've been feeling a little volatile internally or it's just the world around you, to me it just said, all right, you might want to step a little careful in regards to a certain situation or life in general. So that energy, we'll see if it bleeds over. As you know, I mean, every reading's different. We're going to see what we have for you this week. Energy's never set in stone. It's always fluid. So you just take this how it hits for you, my friends. Let's get you 3 cards in the upright. Let's see what we have for Scorpio gang in mid-February. What is happening? Thank you. Hey, we got our good friend, the King of Cups, a.k.a. Kyle of Cups himself, without a beard. He has a goblet. He's chilling there, having a grand old time. That's one of our power cards, my friends. And remember, it's not gender specific. The King of Cups is a really, really good card in a Scorpio reading. Let's get a couple more. What do we have here? Thank you. Okay, so that like sleepy, dreamy, imaginative energy is still here, especially right here in the front. Wow. Okay, let's get one more. Let's get one more. Thank you. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords, totally different. We have a lot of people showing up in the energy now. Okay, so we are most definitely going to have to take a very close look at this. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into the juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, There is a strong internal intensity. And listen, as part of the collective myself, I know how we roll. A lot of people say Scorpio is a very intense sign, and we're seeing it here elementally. And I always look at the elements to try to guide how the energy is flowing. Notice we have a double down of sword energy here on the back. Sword, that's the mind, that's the logic, the thought processes. It could also be communication. So we have a double down of that energy. We have the King of Cups, which is one of our power cards, but cups represent the emotional world. So it's like we have the heart and mind, heart, mind. Hopefully you're not having a battle between the heart and mind about something, because that could be possible. It's like, all right, do I follow my intuition or do I do the logical thing? So for some Scorpios, that could be the case. So it's just interesting how it plays. We have two court cards, two possible individuals. So we're really going to need to break this down, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of nuance, as usual, with a Scorpio reading. But let's go through. We'll start here and just build this out bit by bit. Position number one, we are starting with our very good friend, our dear friend, the King of Cups. And you see him there. He's chilling on his throne, and he has his goblet. Seems very content. Now, I always say kings, when it comes to them, they represent control of their suit. So what is cups? That's water energy, emotions, feelings, love, romance, creativity, imagination. So a lot of the stuff we were picking up in the very beginning of the reading, the King of Cups controls that. Now, since Scorpio is a water sign, this could represent something, that, when we clarify it, something that's coming towards us or a way we might be feeling. Because yes, this is a power card for us. So whether we're feeling confident about something, like, yeah, like nothing could stop me. Like usually this energy could feel like feeling like you're bulletproof in one way or another, which is bizarre. I mean, it could be the opposite too, right? Because all positives have challenges. There's a yin to the yang. So when we see the King of Cups, it could also tell us challenges with emotion, with emotional balance, being in one's head, feeling things too deeply. So we'll see, or vulnerable. Okay, so whether it's feeling very, very confident or feeling very, very vulnerable, these are things we want to watch out for. Now, moving to the center, we have the Four of Swords, almost a mirror image of this very first card that we have. Even though the imagery is a little different, the meanings are almost identical. So we see this individual, it looks like he's sleeping there and praying at the same time in the middle of a church. And this card is at rest. It's taking a pause. It's a card that is stopped. So for some Scorpios, whether there is something you're taking a little break from, taking a rest from, it's like, let's hit the pause button on this. I need a minute. It's like giving me that kind of energy. So maybe there are certain things where it's like, all right, well, maybe you need to take your energy back for a quick second when this card is here. Now, usually this is good. This is a card of recuperating, recovering, but this also deals with things like sleep, your imagination, fantasizing, daydreaming, all those things. And yes, it is very spiritual as well. But when we have the King of Cups and this card connected, it's like, okay, there is a lot going on internally, heart, mind, the whole nine. So we definitely want to look at the intensity that we're picking up, especially with the emotions here and what I was feeling in the beginning. Now, the big challenge with the Four of Swords, sometimes it could represent delays. It could represent problems. It could represent situations where it's like we've stalled out. Okay, so, and especially make sure you're getting proper rest when that card is here. So we'll circle back on it. Now, on to the very back end, we have the Knight of Swords, totally different than what we saw up here, where all this energy is very subtle. This one is all up in your face. The Knight of Swords, if you're not connected to an air sign, it's a card of communication, right? Knights are messengers similar to pages, but it's all up in your face. It's shooting towards something like a rocket. So whether it's an action that someone else takes or an action that you take, the Knight of Swords, it happens quick, rapid. So it's not slow, it's not dreamy, it's doing something really, really fast. Very logical, plan-based. So it's doing something quick, but effective. It's not doing something willy-nilly like the Knight of Wands. So this is an energy we want to watch out for, because it's something that could really pick up steam quickly. So again, whether it is a situation or an issue, maybe it's something good, right? We need to look at the clarifiers. But a big issue with the Knight of Swords is that sometimes it could be a little aggressive, a little too aggressive. So it's important not to force things, and hopefully this isn't like a conflict of some sort. But I was already saying, like, the heart, the mind, like there's just a lot of internal energy here. I mean, what else is new? Everyone watching this that has major Scorpio placements, you know, like we have a baseline intensity, but I just feel like it's going to be amped up a little higher. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. What do we got for Scorpio gang in mid-February? What's all this intensity about? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message. means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot. Because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation. And I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on Mr. King of Cups. Let's see. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to get to Scorpio, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. All right, King of Cups, why are you here? Why are you here, my good friend? What do you got for us this week? The deck is being specific now. Thank you. Two of Wands, waiting on something. So I feel for a lot of Scorpios, the slow route is the best route. This could also be extremely strategic. So there could be something where Spirit is either telling you, listen, take your time. Don't rush this. Think this through. All right. And I really want to see what comes up next after this. Now, the Two of Wands could be someone deciding. I do have this vibe, too, for some Scorpios, like that battle between doing the logical thing or what your intuition tells you. But when I see the Two of Wands, aside from being a crossroads, it is planning something. It's very strategic. So whether it's you needing to enforce a little strategy, maybe there's someone planning something towards you as well. Keep that in mind. Like when I see the Two of Wands looking up at that King of Cups, there can most definitely be someone where it's like, all right, well, this is how I'm going to move forward, or this is how I'm going to handle this situation with Scorpio. It's like someone putting out a roadmap for themselves, because if they don't have a roadmap, like, I don't know, it's like the energy might go sideways. So there's this interesting energy around strategy, but I do feel for a lot of Scorpios right now might be the time to just move cautiously. I was seeing that with the Pisces reading as well. It's like passive, cautious, but have a plan in place. I don't know why that's coming through. There's a lot of strategic energy because he could be strategic. Like there's just so much of it, especially with all the mental action. Okay, so I'm not sure if you got plans in place. I'm not sure if it's someone else planning something towards you, but it's like maybe it's both for some of you. But it's like, all right, don't be spontaneous. Like just calm it down. Let's keep moving. Let's see, because now I want to see, are any of these problematic? You know, what roadblocks might you run into? But let's go in on the Four of Swords. We already know there's a lot of planning there. That is potential too. That's a good thing. But why is the Four of Swords in the mix for Pisces, please? Let's go in, and I'm Pisces. Scorpio. Maybe you're connected to Pisces. Who knows? Okay. Double fours in the center. Okay. Now, I do feel like this is an energy that can be overcome. It's not impossible, but this most definitely feels like a roadblock. I don't think you can strong arm your way through it. Whatever situation this is that you might be dealing with, it's like, all right, well, you can't brute force your way through this one. You might need to use finesse. The Four of Pentacles in reverse is an energy that is starting to come free. Now, know that in numerology, when we see double fours, especially in the center of the spread, I was already saying this to me felt like the problem area. Fours are grounded. They're stable. They're not moving. So when I see this right in the center, it's like, okay, you're going to have to use finesse. You're going to have to be smooth with it. You can't brute force your way, if that makes sense. And again, listen, as part of the collective myself, I know we are not opposed to using a little force if necessary, right? But yeah, the Four of Pentacles in reverse, I don't feel like it's somebody letting go with something or anything like that. To me, it just says like, yeah, no, the energy is going to move, but you just need to be very smooth with it. You need to be slick with it, and you need to use finesse. I don't know why that's showing up. And for some of you, yeah, the double fours in the center, it can most definitely represent a big problem or a situation that you're dealing with where it's like, all right, this is a roadblock. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get past that? So now the strategy makes sense in the front. Now, for some of you, this could be something that hasn't even arisen yet. So just know if something does pop up in the coming days or weeks, Spirit could be saying like, listen, don't use brute force. This may seem like a blockage you can't get through, or this might seem like a wall you can't surpass. Using brute force won't work. You need to be strategic, and you need to be using your finesse. I don't know why that's here. Let's keep moving. I don't want to focus on that too much. Let's see what the Knight of Swords has to say, because maybe it'll show us what that approach would look like if we did use brute force, or if we did push the envelope. So why is the Knight of Swords here? What's going on? There's that Knight of Swords in the mix for Scorpio. Thank you. Justice in the upright. This is also very strategic. Okay. Another energy. It's just so much air. Now, Lady Justice is karmic energy. If you're connected to a Libra, this could be them showing up here. It's usually fair and balanced. There will be a time and a place for something. That's another vibe I'm getting here. Like, there will be a time for action. That time might not be right this second, though. I don't know why that energy is coming through. Lady Justice can sometimes represent legal things, contractual things. So I just want to say, for a lot of Scorpios out there, watch out for anything you're putting your name on. Watch out for any kind of government documents or anything that has legal implications. Be very cautious with in this time. That's only for a few of you. But when I see Lady Justice with the Knight of Swords, these are two totally different approaches. And it just tells me if you did try to brute force it, it's not going to change a thing. So if you do have a problem or a serious situation, what have you, it's like, all right, well, you could try to brute force it, but that's not going to change anything initially. Like, you got to use tact. You got to use strategy. And these energies are also strategic. So, I mean, maybe you could get some assistance or help with it as well. That's very possible. Like, get another opinion, get somebody's help. That's very possible. But this is fair and balanced when I see this right on the back end. Do I feel someone overreacting? No. But I do feel like there might be a process coming up for some of you where it's like, listen, just go through the process. Go through the process. There will be a time and a place for all the action. There will be a time and a place for you to make big moves. But now might not be that time for a lot of Scorpios. I mean, either that or this is how someone you're connected to is thinking. Because both of these energies, both sides are looking at the same issue, the same problem. It's just they're trying to figure out different ways to maneuver it. And I feel like the subtle way is the best. But let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. I don't want to go too far off track. I don't feel like this is a bad reading whatsoever. Position number one, we have the King of Cups with the Two of Wands, strategic. So whether you're planning something, maybe someone you're connected to is planning something, keep in mind that if you are having an issue with somebody, they are probably being more cautious and more plan-based than you would think. They're being very subtle. That's how this energy here on the front feels to me. It's like I'm being very subtle with it. I'm using a lot of finesse. So whether that's how you need to handle something or that's how someone you're connected to is acting, just know they might be very, very coy, if that makes sense. Moving to the center, we have the Four of Swords with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. The energy will start to move naturally. Whatever this problem or situation is that feels like it's gunking things up or blocking it down, it will start moving on its own. But this isn't something that you could just force your way or force your will on it. To me, it just feels like if you try to force your will on it, you're not going to get the best results. So you need to use finesse. So whether this is something you're dealing with now or something that pops up, it's just like be smooth, plan, strategize, and use a soft touch. Moving to the back end, we have the Knight of Swords with Lady Justice. I did say for a good chunk of you, just if you're doing anything legal or contractual in this time, be very, very cautious with it. That's what that tells me. But aside from that, I mean, it says there's a time and a place. So we could run headlong into whatever this barrier is. Not going to change anything. So some things are karmic. Some things take time. Some things are meant to be a process. That's how this feels to me. So Scorpio, please take a screenshot if you want to look at it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. So let's get a good shuffle here for Scorpio gang. Let's see what shadow card we got. Maybe we'll get a little more insight. Who knows? And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get your shadow card out here. What have we got in the shadows for Scorpio? Thank you. Okay, yeah, this energy is very fast moving, and I feel like it kind of doubles down on what we were speaking about within the main part of the reading. So we do have the Eight of Wands. This is a big card of communication. It's also very fiery, like the energy I saw last week, the explosive warning. This card kind of encapsulates that. But this is also a card that is a little forceful, kind of like what we're seeing here on the back end of the spread. So the shadow side of this, some of you might be having some conversations or talks that you didn't see coming. That could simply be that when we see this in the shadows. But at the same time, it is a warning against being too forceful or revealing your hand, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying be manipulative or anything like that, but it's like, all right, well, don't show your hand. Don't show your full hand for whatever reason. Don't let it all go. Don't let it all spill. Just that cautiousness, the coyness, whether it's someone using that towards you or you using it towards somebody else. I feel like that's a very prevalent energy this week, especially with the Eight of Wands. So Scorpio gang, that's what I have for you, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the February subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out the availability and my digital calendar on my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could get a little forecast for the next few weeks for you. But for the February subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Tarot of the Owls. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments if you could snap your fingers right now and wish for something, what would it be? It could be anything except more wishes. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll talk to you soon.